Labels might feel like a standard today, but can you guess when they actually started? The answer will blow your mind. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Dustin, and today we're going to talk about nutrition labels and probably all the things that you didn't know about them. So, nutrition labels were designed to provide consumers with information about nutritional content in food products, enabling informed dietary choices. What's truly crazy? They weren't first introduced until 1990 with the passage of the Nutrition Labeling and Education Act. Even though that passed in 1990, it didn't become mandatory on food packaging until 1994. They were updated in 2016 with changes reflecting modern nutrition science and eating habits, added sugars, realistic serving sizes, but we'll talk about those in a minute. How are nutritional labels regulated? The Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, oversees labeling for most packaged foods. The U.S. Department of Agriculture regulates meat, poultry, and some egg products. What are the requirements? Well, the requirements must include serving size, calories, macronutrients, which are fat, protein, and carbohydrates, certain micronutrients such as vitamin D, calcium, iron, potassium, magnesium. You know the drill. Mandatory inclusion of a percent daily value. You've seen that on the label, the percent sign with the DV, based on a 2,000 calorie a day diet. Now let's talk about some common misleading practices, such as manipulating serving sizes. Companies often list unrealistically small serving sizes to make calories, sugars, fat content appear lower. As an example, a 20-ounce soda at one point was listed with a serving size of 2.5 servings for 20 ounces. So we know that that's not true. 2.5 people aren't drinking that 20-ounce soda. Same thing with coffee creamers, spices, dips, things like that, that 2 tablespoons. No one's eating just 2 tablespoons. They're not realistic. Now, I believe over in the EU, they do have what the suggested serving size is, and then they'll have what it is for 100 grams. See, then we also get into natural and other ambiguous terms. Terms like natural, light, organic can be confusing. Only organic has strict USDA guidelines. Example, natural might mean no artificial flavors, but doesn't guarantee the product is free from things like high fructose corn syrup. And don't get me started on natural flavors. I have a whole video about that. Sugars, ingredients like maltodextrin, agave nectar, evaporated cane juice are often used to mask added sugars under less recognizable names. And we also have to understand that carbohydrates in general are just slower broken down sugars. So when we're looking at the label, you can look at sugar, and you also need to look at carbohydrates, because carbohydrates in of themselves are going to have an impact on your blood glucose levels, just like sugar does. No sugar added doesn't mean the product is low in sugar. It may contain naturally occurring sugars from fruit, milk, fruit juices. As an example, beef jerky, no sugar or 0 sugar added beef jerky, is typically sweetened with pineapple juice powder. So it's still sugar. It still has carbohydrates. It still can impact your blood glucose, but they can get away with saying 0 sugar. Fiber claims, not all fibers are created equal. Functional fibers like inulin are added, but may not provide the same benefits as naturally occurring fiber. We also have to look at rounded numbers. So the FDA allows rounding, ergo, product with 0.4 grams of trans fat per serving can list that as 0 if under 0.5 grams. So overconsumption of a 0 trans fat item can lead to significant intake. This is something that my channel we deal with carbohydrates. So if you're not familiar with the ketogenic lifestyle, take a look at my channel. If you found value so far in this video, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, becoming a member. So we would talk about carbohydrates. So if a product says 0 grams of carbohydrates per serving, but that could mean it's about a half a gram. And if you're eating 4 servings, that's 2 grams of carbohydrates. And if you are on a strict carbohydrate diet, a restricted carbohydrate diet like ketogenic lifestyle, carnivore, those type of things, you may have a 20 or less total carb limit. And if you're getting these hidden carbohydrates in because it says 0, you're gonna go over that limit, and there's gonna be the carb creep. There's just a lot of things that these nutrition labels don't tell you. So you have to read between the lines, not to mention the margin of error here. So the FDA allows a 20% margin of error, or they call it a 20% variance between labeled and actual nutrient content. So an example would be a 100 calorie item could have as much as 120 calories in real life. Not to mention, that goes hand in hand with that, the testing challenges where testing method and lab equipment can lead to discrepancies in actual nutritional values, nutrition degradation over time, with vitamins that are not accounted for. Realistically, knowing what's in our food and being able to properly label it is difficult. So, there's that. But 20% is pretty crazy. There are also loopholes that companies will exploit. Free, claiming something is free. Now, labels like fat-free, sugar-free can be used, again, if the contents are below a half a gram per serving, even for unrealistic serving sizes. Splitting ingredients, listing sugar under multiple names like fructose, dextrose, malt syrup, maltitol, maltodextrin. All of these things can hide the total sugar content. Made with whole grains is another one. Products often use refined grains with minimal amounts of whole grain, but highlighted the latter for marketing. Most of the things you see on the front of the label are marketing. Realistically, you have to then check the ingredients, check the nutrition label, really play detective to really make sure that you're doing your due diligence and choosing products that adhere to their own marketing, I should say. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So talking about sugar-free products. So if you go to the grocery store and you purchase or take a look at sugar-free or zero sugar coffee creamer, on the front, bold as day, sugar-free, zero sugar. But you take a look at the back, it's water. If you look at the ingredient label, it's water and then high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is the second ingredient. But how do they get away with that? Because they make the serving size 1 tablespoon. Therefore, the high fructose corn syrup that would be in that 1 tablespoon is with a 20% variance less than half a gram. So they can say that it is zero sugar. So you have to, again, read between the lines. You have to look at the front at the marketing and then flip it over at the back, look at the nutrition label, look at the ingredients, and then make the best decisions you can with the information that they're providing you. So we would ask, well, what can be improved? Well, I think first off would be serving size transparency. Require more realistic serving sizes based on typical consumption patterns, like the EU, as I mentioned, that I think my understanding is they will have their suggested serving size, and then they'll have something like 100 grams or whatever it would be for the entire package, if the package is less than 100 grams. Stricter regulation of claims, clarify terms like natural, and standardized functional claims, e.g. high in protein. You will see peanut butter say high in protein, and it's 6 grams of protein. That's not a lot. That's about what's in an egg. 1 egg. Added sugar breakdown. Enforce clear distinction between natural and added sugars. Regular auditing. Mandate periodic independent testing to verify label accuracy. We had a whole thing with a company called Element, LMNT, that were telling us one thing about maltodextrin quantities in their product. They had a front-facing claim that they are very proud of the testing that they do with their products and that they test multiple times throughout the product's lifespan, from purchase of ingredients to receipt of ingredients to mixing of ingredients to the final product. And yet they claimed that there was only 4 milligrams of maltodextrin per packet of their electrolyte mix. It came to light that it was actually between 250 and 550 milligrams of maltodextrin. Now, in this video, we're not going to discuss what the issue with that maltodextrin is or anything like that. It's not about the maltodextrin. It's about the fact that a company claiming that they are testing all along the way, from purchase and receipt of ingredients through mixing of ingredients, through packaging of ingredients, and there was a factor that big of a discrepancy of any ingredient in their product, and it still was shipped and sent to customers. That's the issue that I have. So auditing here, mandate periodic investigating, independent testing to verify label accuracy. You know, that's what I would really like to see. We need to adopt simplified labeling, adopt universal, easy to understand symbols for key metrics like sugar, fat, protein, carbohydrates, fiber, all of these things. And they should have to let you know if these things are being added just to play with the numbers, and maybe they won't do it anymore. Like adding fiber to help with net carbs, for example. So what can you do? How can you safeguard yourself? We've talked a little bit throughout this video of things that you can do to safeguard yourself to avoid the marketing mistakes, the marketing on the front of the package versus the ingredients and nutrition information on the back of the package. Check serving sizes, always multiply by the number of servings in the package. Read ingredient lists, watch for hidden sugars or vague terms like spices or natural flavors. Again, there'll be a video at the end of this all about natural flavors. I think that'll be something that will really interest you if you've made it this far. Focus on whole foods. Labels on whole, unprocessed foods are often simpler, obviously. Beef. But you have to even pay attention to that. At Walmart, their packaged beef products, just their hamburger and such, will say beef and then natural flavors, where other stores will say just beef. So you have to be careful. You have to read ingredients. You have to do your due diligence all the time. They're not going to do it for you. Be wary of claims. Low fat, high fiber, heart healthy, even with check marks, keto certified, all of these things, all of these claims that are made on the front of packaging are not always truthful. Check your ingredients, check your nutrition, make sure that they are on the up and up, and always check. Every time you purchase something, check the back. Things change. Products that I've purchased for a long time will change. Companies change hands. Companies will then change ingredients. This happened with Primal Kitchen. I liked a product from Primal Kitchen. It was being sold initially at Costco. I had purchased a good amount of it. I enjoyed the product. They got bought by Kraft. They changed the ingredients. I don't buy it anymore. They added ingredients that I didn't care for. You have to just pay attention. So again, always check your ingredients list. Beware of buzzwords, natural, light, healthy. As I said, you know, with all of that, you know, the big claims, buzzwords, keto friendly, all these things, you just have to really be mindful. And again, if you have any questions, if there's anything I missed, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.